Many thanks for your reporting. I mean, it was quite robust. I would truly appreciate that. I wanted to ask your first impression before we come to the outcome of the election. Your first impression as you were done doing the reporting. What did you go home with? What outlook was it going home after you saw all of the things that happened at the polling units that you visited?
Yes, what I went home with was I was very worried that we are like a country at war with itself. That the very people who have been appointed to do this work are the ones that are sabotaging it. It was very pathetic. I had to drive to the local government headquarters when we didn't see them to ask, why are you not here? Because it's about 3 minutes drive from the local government headquarters in Enugu East to Ukudara in Amoje. So we went there to inquire and they said, oh yeah, the boss, this, that. There was no concrete evidence. So I was totally disappointed that INEC is sabotaging its own work. It is like, I don't know how to, can we imagine the father of a household is the one that is destroying his family? Because that's what INEC was doing. Can you imagine when they say ink? I had to go and look for ink.
Wow.
I went to the parish, I said to the parish cascades, please open the office now. And they opened the office and gave me ink, which I have to buy and replace tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, there was no ink. And then they started using water. And when you use water and you put your finger, it soaks the paper. So when the counting came, they said those ones were invalid. We said, no, everybody shout chorus, no. So we had to count all the papers that were open. It did not touch to any other party's logo. It was the same thing, but that paper has been soaked. You don't have ink. What are you talking about? What do you mean about logistics?
Wow.
You know, in my particular ward, my booth had about 1,200 persons in one polling unit.
Wow.
While in some others you have only 27, 15.
Okay.
So they have the list, they know the number of people who are going to vote in this particular polling booth, and then they don't have ink. So how do you explain it? With all the money that has been given, logistic-wise, it was a complete failure. For me, it was, I think that what happened was that INEC sabotaged the work, and they used it to reduce the number of people who would have voted. Some people sat in the sun. After some time, they got hungry. They became hungry and they went home. They didn't vote. I remember I took 2 people to their polling booths. They came and said they came here. They are supposed to vote here, and they said no, they didn't see their name. I said enter the car. I took the voter's card. I came to the INEC. I said, check this name. Is it in your list? Eventually, they found it.
Wow. And
the lady who was going home, crying as she was going home, I said, enter my car. I took her back to Ncheke, Umuchibu. And she voted, and she was so happy, she was jubilated. Another man didn't find his name in the list. I took him back to the place. I insisted, I said, check this, put this card, check it. And they checked, and the man voted. You can imagine other people who went back. So it was what we call voter suppression. And the result was what we saw in the total number of votes that were eventually published in Abuja. It was a deliberate attempt, and that's why I am afraid for this country is that the institutions are not working. The fact that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who are our own people here, because the people who are working here are not from Zamfara, neither are they from Borno. These are our own people. And these our own people were working hard to sabotage what we are doing. I couldn't believe it.
So again, we talk about logistics. You also talk about information. I'm even shocked. You said you were the ones even going to the headquarters to check with some of these issues. I mean, from the ink to carrying people to go and check their names. I don't know. How do you score INEC in these particular elections. Do we throw away everything if we were to ask questions regarding the authenticity of the outcome of the election? Do you think that we haven't improved given what has happened in the past?
No, we didn't improve. In fact, we went back. There was some improvement. The improvement came from the resilience of the people. The people were ready to vote. And people like me who volunteered, I went out, and then when I saw a lot of women sitting down under the sun, I went and I bought 20 bags of pure water to keep them. Yeah, and then I bought water for our next staff who were there, so for them to look for food. So please eat something and be strong to be able to work. We went back because the whole thing that gave people the opportunity, the confidence to come to vote was the fact that results were going to be uploaded from the polling unit into the server. So we were surprised when the INEC chairman didn't even mention it until people started raising alarm, and he came and just continued as if nothing had happened. So what was happening was that they were calling results. We didn't know where they generated the result, because if you don't have the result from the polling unit, so what are you calling? And you go to INEC, IREV, their portal, you don't find any result, but they are calling results in Abuja and at the state capitals. How did they generate the result? And then of course you see what is flying around. We started checking. We saw that a result in Adamawa was copied and pasted in Abia State, and some from Lagos they pasted it to the other side. So, it was a charade. So I will give INEC F9.
Wow.
Yes, but I will score Nigerians 90%.
Yeah, again, the issue now is not even about the people, because I know in one of our program we have mentioned that you are not as powerless
as you think you are. Yes.
That played out. There's this resilience and determination from Nigerians. So when you meet a determined institution that wants to suppress you or stop you from voting, I mean, how much powerful can you be in this scenario?
Being powerful, I think we have to be careful about might is right. They are using physical force. No, I've been a keen observer of elections in Nigeria, and I have witnessed some instances where elections were annulled because they were not properly conducted. So if you have a determined institution to sabotage its own work, what you can do is to make sure you document, and that's where I'm hailing Nigerians. With smartphone, we would never, election in Nigeria has always been a problem. Remember when we were talking about the Biafra war, it was one of the remote causes, was the rigging of election right from the beginning. All the regional elections and the federal elections were rigged. And from what happened on the 25th, it was very obvious to us that the other elections we have been conducting, except maybe the 1993 election 30 years ago with Abiola's case, could probably have been a good election. But the other ones, what you have seen now is that they allocate figures to people.
Even this particular one?
This particular one was even worse, yes. Well, let's see how this is going to stand, because inconsistencies in the figures are so many that the only thing I think that is left is to annul the presidential election, cancel it all together and start afresh. And I think that the civil society, we don't have enough people to monitor what is going on. This is where I think we have to recover our power, that we are not too powerless. Because in many of the places I went to, INEC staff, they wanted to do certain things, and the people said, no, you can't. You can't do this. And when they were counting, they wanted everybody to go out so that they will count. So we said, no, all of us are going to be here. And the lady started counting, and she will count like 27, 28, 21.
Wow.
You can see how the lady is still trying to reduce the number of votes by counting backwards.
Wow.
I was looking, I said, are these Nigerians? It was so pathetic. I couldn't believe that my people, our own people in Enugu here, are working against But what I think that happened was that when they saw the resilience of the people and that is a deafening, loud complaint that this cannot happen. And of course, as I mentioned to you, the security agencies were accomplished, they were already settled. A few things are changed. In this particular Ecuador ward, ordinarily there will be a canopy with rice and beer. In all other elections that I have voted there from 2011, this time around it didn't happen because we said if it comes like that, we are going to make a report.
What do you mean by rice and beer?
At the party we cook rice and put beer. When you vote, you go there, you get a plate of rice and take a bottle of beer. I'm telling you this.
Really?
Yes. And you can see what happened in Enugu, that it was something no one probably expected. And the people are waking up. And I just hope that the momentum is sustained because we still have more work to do. The work is just beginning. People are, when we have elected whoever is going to be there, Abuja is good, but don't forget that politics, every politics is local. So what about your own area? That's your ward, that's your councillor, that's your whoever is going to be there, because we have not interrogated people who are saying they are going to represent. Represent what? Who are you going to represent? When the people who are representing, what they are earning, the money they are getting is far much more to develop the place where they are representing. It is like you are doing a business, Charles, and you spend more money for overhead than the money you are budgeting for what you are supposed to. So you pay, the money you are paying for staff is about 70% of the profit you are making. Will that business ever work?
Of course not.
It will not. So our people have to wake up. We have taken politics as something, let them hang them away, let them go and do it, and you say you don't have time, you are going to market. We are finished. Because whatever they decide, how much they decide to tax you. Take for instance, Charles. I was growing up when Ogbeta Market was built newly. It was a good sight to behold. Everything there was very good. How many years? I think this was around 1980, 81. Go back to that place now and see how the place is. The people there are still paying tax. But check the structure that is there. And it amazes me that the market association there are aligning with the government to allow the place to be the way it is, instead of looking for their own interest that the place is properly equipped. If I'm paying tax, I pay tax, but I have to get a value for what I'm paying for goodness sake. This thing, like the person who is supposed to be serving you is the one you are kneeling down to beg. And he's treating you like a slave. We are basically like slaves here, and then you have taskmasters who are driving us up and down, and we are worshiping them. If you're a servant, please go ahead and serve. Allow the people who are supposed to be serving to serve. But they're not going there to serve. They want to be masters. You have little emperors in small places where they are, and they are grinding the country to a halt.
I mean, it's shocking, really, because I'm wondering how it's never really come to me on how to, have this, balance in my head properly. If you are a leader who wants to serve, why do you have to force the people
to vote for you?
To force people to emerge as their leader or emerge to serve them? If leadership is about service, if politics is about leaders who emerge to serve the people, why force yourself? Why suppress people? Why stop people from engaging in their civic duty just because you want to emerge?
Yeah, the answer is very simple, Charles. Let's be honest. Resources are scarce, more than the people who want to share it. What do? There's a struggle. And then the fittest defeats the other people and takes it. But be careful, the fittest is not the strongest. The fittest is, remember the tortoise and the other animals, the tortoise, he borrowed feathers, he was wise. So the strongest is not the fittest. The fittest is the one who is using his head, who is manipulating things to his own favor. And that's what we are seeing now. If anyone thinks that most of the people who are going into service are going there to serve, no, they are looking for opportunity to get their hands on the money. It is the resources that matter. That's where they want to put their hands into. Remember, Plato said, and Aristotle, all those Greek philosophers, they said, it is the philosopher king who is disinterested in material things who should be the leader. If you start looking for material things, you are not supposed to be there, because you know what will happen. You will attract everything to yourself. And for that reason, you have to have checks and balances. And that was what the Igbo people saw far back. Why they refused to have kings. An emperor who will come and sit down and be ordering them around and dealing with them the way they want. They say, no. We have to arrange this thing. Each village, each person, be on your own way. If we have something in common, we come and discuss it. And what we have now, we were conquered and then put into this kind of government. And Charles, I still say, when you take what you are doing as Oloyibo was to defeat the white man, not to make that Oloyibo to work. You are working against the Oloyibo to bring it down. And you can see it in what the electoral officers are doing. They are wanting to bring down the work. Not to, if you have a saboteur. So these people in INEC are saboteurs, working assiduously, working very hard to destroy what they were supposed to do. And you ask them, are they Nigerians? Where does it lead to? Stomach infrastructure. Something has been given to that person, and this is where corruption is like leprosy. Leprosy will engulf that flesh and eventually annihilate it and kill it, and it will become ash. It will become nothing. That's what corruption has done. Those INEC people who collected money for whatever reason to foster another group of people who are not supposed to be in government. It is amazing. We are still watching to see what will happen.
Right. Given what you have stated, there are other places. I mean, you have commended the people, the way and manner that they came, determination, the fact that some of them defended their vote, stayed into the night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to even cast their ballot, just to make sure that they are counted. But there are other places where, the beavers stalled. In fact, the places where like Imo, Anambra, in fact, the Yaga Africa, one of the monitoring agencies, have stated in the preliminary report that in these places, even though the beavers worked later, but they couldn't upload the result. One of the ad hoc staff even mentioned that they asked them not to upload the result.
Thank you.
And that when they come to the office, they will tell them what to do afterwards, which, ran in contrary to what the laws of the land said. So you wonder, this time around, it's not even about the people. The people have come out en masse to cast their ballot, but the system has just
the system is, there's no problem with the system. The system theory, we know how it works. Each component has to work together. They are saying that they are preventing the system from working. This is always the argument I have with some people, and it is difficult for some people to understand. When I say to you, Charles, what is happening is not ignorance. It is not inability to do something. It is that you don't want it. Why did they give them password that will not open? The test run, everything was test run before. So it is sabotage. When you suppress, you can see in all those places, this one will be coming up to the court. Whether the number of people disenfranchised is enough to annul the election or to repeat it in a particular place. That is also going to play. All the things we are talking about there were different ways in which voters were suppressed, not to come in early. The distance from Enugu East to Ukudara was a 3 minutes drive, and they came by 10:30, 11. that we had to go there to go and fetch them to say, please start coming now, it is time. And they came sluggishly, they started setting up things. So we started voting maybe around 12:30 or to 1 o'clock. So look at what is happening. And even those, we don't even have good whistleblowers. If I were to be working in INEC, I will compile things and blow my whistle. Yes, I will blow whistle. But they are not blowing it. Probably, who are you blowing it to? The same government that is responsible for it. Is like when you go to war and your commander is a saboteur, and you come to tell him, look at the enemies are coming. You say, okay, I've heard you. And he's driving you into the enemy to kill you. So what do? It's a very difficult thing because we are literally killing our country. The country is collapsing. And what the INEC commissioner has done is actually unbelievable.
That's the national commissioner?
The national...
or the INEC chairman?
No, the INEC chairman, yes, because these things were pointed out to him.
Yeah.
In the middle of, as he was collecting the result, and he just kept a stone face. And the fact that he didn't even come out to tell us while IREF, that is the portal, was not open. Come on, Charles, for goodness sake, they had 4 years to plan this, and we were told that everything was going to be fine. And when it was not fine, why didn't you come clean and say, wait, we're having some issues with our portal, we're not going to be able to upload the result. Because the issue is that the results that were not uploaded from the polling booth, snapped and uploaded, those ones are not authentic. Because we saw where they were writing
cancelling and then rewriting the figures.
Yes. They go to somewhere and they have another EC8 and they write whatever, the vote, they reduce some in order to supplement. I think the whole thing that happened worked according to the way they wanted it. But they left trails, they left things that, the computer, the internet is very good because you will see your footprints. Yeah, we saw also where children as old as small as 4 years were giving ballot papers to thumbprint, or where so many people, INEC staff themselves, were thumbprinting ballot papers. So how are you going to explain this to us? And people outside the country, they look at us, they just shudder, they say, these people are cursed. This is a terrible people.
Going forward, how do you think the people who were resilient and excited about coming to cast their ballot, how do you think they would feel? Because again, this is a recipe to drag them back. Most of them, all the time I've said,
I'm not going to vote. Now I come out to vote. Look, for me, it is an impetus to work harder, to know that what you are fighting against, as St. Paul says, is not flesh and blood. It is bigger than that. So you need more effort in order to overcome. I really believe that we have more good Nigerians than the bad ones. The problem is that the good ones are just resting and complaining and doing nothing. I'm sure that if that is the energy and the enthusiasm that the people had in this last election, if they bring out in this one that is coming out on the 11th, we will have a better option, a better outing.
I mean, it's the same INEC that's going to conduct.
Yeah, it is the same INEC.
Ad hoc staff that are actually going to do the same.
Yes, but unfortunately, fortunately, some of these things are happening before us. At least the one that is happening before us. And now we can insist and say to the INEC people there, if you don't upload this result from here, all of us are going to be here till the next morning. You have to upload it. And if people came out and prevented, the voter suppression would have been worse if the people didn't resist. That's why I'm asking the people, I beg, make una come out, it's just the start. This revolution is just starting. I was happy the one man from Ghana who came here shared his own experience in Ghana. I said only a few years back Ghana was, and he said today a policeman can arrest a minister on the road. If he goes on one way, he will stop him and give him a ticket. Understand? So we are moving. So don't be discouraged. This is an impetus that to tell you that the work in front is much more, and going back is not an option, because going back is to go back to Egypt. The Israelites, when they were released, they are on the way to the promised land, and then you start going back to Egypt. That is a self-defeatist approach. We can't go back to Egypt. We have to move forward.
Well, then nothing guarantees that what happened on Saturday wouldn't repeat itself next week Saturday.
The guarantee is only what we ourselves do. Now we know some of the things that they did, and we can prevent some of them.
Right.
From now, yes. We don't have an iron cast guarantee, but don't forget, the people who are doing it are not more in number than those of us who want the right thing to be done. We can prevail. And if it is wrongly done, I think those people in INEC are getting the message. They have to be very careful. We're not asking for any violence at all, but they have to know that we are also looking. We don't shine our eyes. We'll be looking at what they're doing, and they have to be very careful.
All right, join the conversation. Let's just take a few phone calls, maybe 2 or 3. Please keep it within a minute mark, just because of time. We have just around 10 minutes to get off the show. So if we can grab a call or 2, then we'll be fine. You can ask questions, make comments. You can also drop comments on our social media platforms. The numbers to call 0700 1055 1055. That is 0700 1055 1055. That's the number you could send your WhatsApp message to. You can call 0700 1055 0000. That is 0700 1055 0000. You are listening to Energy 105.5, and we're speaking with Reverend Dr. Tobe Nnamani, giving us an insight into what he have seen and his preliminary report about the elections that were concluded last Saturday. We have another elections that is due next week Saturday, and it is one that concerns the gubernatorial, that's the state governorship elections, and the State House of Assembly elections. I don't know if you have decided whom you are going to vote. We've also had people say things like, I'm not interested in any other election aside the presidential. I don't know, what do you say to such people who say, look, what they are all about is the presidential, and now that the presidential elections are done and dusted and it didn't go their way, they become really saddened and they want to pull back from what exactly their civic responsibility should be. We'll come to that, Doc. Let's just take this call. Hello. Good morning. Charles Lilo from Venato, go ahead. Okay, you're welcome.
My reverend in the studio, Reverend Dr. Nnamani, if I'm not mistaken, and every other Nigerian it's just concluded the election. And I just want to commend Energy FM for their coverage. And also, I have to point out this, that INEC, they really failed Nigeria. They really failed Nigeria.
Hello. Good morning. What's your Steve? Stephen from Obiagwe, welcome.
I'll thank the guest in the house. He has spoken very, very much. At this point in time, I want to what a political elite, or how would I say the INEC officials and everything they are doing. I think for me, just like he has said, another election is coming up by 11th or so. I think whatever strategy they are doing, they want us to go back to the former level as especially the youth. They want a situation whereby we will say that after all our votes do not count. They want politics to be seen as just what is meant for them alone. Because I think if we feel discouraged at this point in time, we are going back to normal, whereby we feel that it doesn't concern us, the governance or all political activities should just be done by them. I think that is what they want. Because they saw the masses, they saw the the activeness of the youth. How could they pull us down? Can pull us down with this thing they are doing so that we'll feel reluctant and we'll go back to the former way and things should be and things will start being done the way they were doing before.
Thank
so
you.
yeah, I'm urging all Nigerians that we shouldn't fall back.
Thank you so much. That is what we should do.
Hello? Okay.
Sorry, I go to the guest, my reverend, they have those that they did earlier. Yes, I think from the very first speaker, Tobe that I did not do what they were supposed to do, which is very true. Very specific Nigerians, the generality of Nigerians, more than 6%. Except those who perpetrated this, evil act on Nigerians on that election I did. But I would still call on Nigerians, they should not give up. They should all come out with their activity. What's their choice? These are not parties, but both the very candidate you think might change the difference in your community, in your area, and your state. And if the reverend in the house is the contestant, which I don't know, if she is not, then that's my case. But if he is, I would have asked him what plan is he or any other political contestant have for people with disabilities, because they are the less privileged, they are being neglected, they are being just forgotten by the society, they are just left for God to decide their fate. Please, we are Mr. Charles in the studio, any other person coming into the studio for whatever, ask him this question, what plan did he have for people with disability? Because these people, they are crying. Thank you, good morning.
All right, thank you so much. We have just less than 5 minutes, so we will just get back to Reverend Dr. Tobe Nnamani. Reverend, the calls are in, and practically everyone is basically not happy about the conduct of the elections. We know that it's a contest, but then if you win and lose on a level playing field that is fair to all, at the end of the day, using the laws and the rules and regulations, one can be excited and be happy that they actually participated, and it's just that their effort wasn't enough to actually enthrone their, perceived messiah in this case. But again, it didn't happen. This has a lot of implications, which could be damning, given that we could go back to the days of apathy, because in one of the reports you had mentioned that there were a lot of people. In the live report you even gave that this is the first time since you started voting there in 2011 that you are seeing this kind of number.
Yeah.
You've never seen that kind of number.
Yeah.
So this kinds of results that isn't predicated on transparency can make people go back to where they're coming from.
Yeah, but that's what one of the callers said that I liked. He said, no, that the intention is to make us go back to where we were before. Let us just rubbish this in, and then they will get discouraged and go back. Democracy is not an easy thing. It requires participation of a lot of people. And what has happened in the past is that we left it for 1% of the people who are dealing with us, and terribly. Now that we have opened our eyes, we come out and show them that now all of us will get this thing, not them alone. If I were contesting, what I would have done is to ask myself if my hands are clean. Am I complaining only because I was rigged out? Or would I want everything to be transparently done? Because it can also be that some of those who are complaining because they were rigged out. If you have ever engaged in anything to destroy the system in whichever party you belong, you don't have any mouth to complain, to talk about it. If you are crying only because they outsmarted you, if you are going to equity, you have to come with clean hands. So, but I think democracy, we have now seen that democracy requires a lot of work. And there are advantages and disadvantages that the people you ask to do something. You are building a house and the engineer says 5 bags of cement plus 5 headpans of sand, and you turn your back and the laborer puts 2 headpans of sand to 5 bags of cement and tells you it's okay because at your back. When you come back, you know what will happen to the house. The pillar will not be as strong as if the cement is reduced. So what does it call eternal vigilance? We are not vigilant because, Charles, the people who are sabotaging this are people from homes like your own and my own.
Right.
What were they discussing in the house? So the lack of patriotism is actually, there's nothing that is going to change unless the people who are doing these things are dealt with. Have you heard anybody who has gone to jail? The annex staff, the people, the one that we saw, because the police can go and trace this person, we saw his face thumbprinting.
Yeah.
We want to see that he's in jail tomorrow, next tomorrow, in 3 months. The police people who were just sitting and doing nothing. So it requires effort. So that's what I'm saying, that we have more work to do. I've prepared myself already, so I'm going with my food, with water and everything. I will be at the INEC office by 8 o'clock.
Right. Okay, we leave it here because of time. We're back next week for another fine time with you. By next week, it will be 2 days to the gubernatorial elections. Are we looking at that again, doing a retrospect, and again, maybe post-analysis of this particular...
I'm looking at the local impact, local implications of what we are doing is in the state, in the, focusing on the executive office of the governor and the House of Assembly. So that will be interesting for us to see how all these things are going to pan out. The people in Abuja are a bit far away from us, so we are now focusing on the people who are here in Enugu.
Indeed.
Thank you so much.
All right, many thanks for being part of the program. It returns next week, Thursday, 10 to 11.